Hey, buddy, picture a cozy kitchen night. Pasta simmering, me reaching for Mary's hand across the table, feeling that old spark. But she pulls back slightly, her smile fading into a sigh. Stephen, it's always the same. Dinner, talk, bed. Don't you feel stuck? Her voice carries that mix of care and impatience I've learned to dread, eyes searching mine for something I'm not giving. I freeze, hand hovering, thinking my reliability is our anchor, not a weight. Man, when did our routine become her enemy? Ever had that moment where everything shifts? All right, let me take it back to the start. Dude, like we're just kicking back with some sodas, shooting the breeze. This all began 5 years ago in a downtown Dallas office, where I work as a consultant for a business firm. I'm the guy who keeps things organized, diving into data, crafting strategies for clients, making sure every number lines up. Principled, steady, that's me. Mary was in HR, the one who kept the whole place running like a well-oiled machine. She had this caring vibe but didn't take nonsense. Her desk always spotless, pins lined up like soldiers, calendar marked with color-coded notes. I can still see the day we met, clear as day. I was drowning in paperwork for a big client pitch. Mary walked over from across the floor, heels clicking on the linoleum, holding a folder. "Need a hand with that mess?" she asked, her smile warm, eyes bright under the office lights, voice light and teasing. We got to sorting those files together, her fingers quick and efficient, and by the end, I said, "How about coffee after work?" My treat for the assist. My voice was steady, but my pulse jumped a bit, hoping she'd say yes. She laughed, this genuine sound that eased the knot in my shoulders, and agreed. That was it, man, the spark that started it all. Things moved fast from there. Our dates were simple but real. We'd hit up parks around Dallas, like White Rock Lake, strolling the trails with sunlight filtering through the trees, benches scattered along the path. She'd pack a cooler bag, sandwiches neatly labeled. We'd sit on those benches, munching away, talking about work gripes or weekend plans, her hand slipping into mine like it was the most natural thing. My breathing would slow, shoulders relaxing as the lake sparkled nearby. Evenings at her place or mine turned into habits quick. We'd sit at the kitchen table, a small wooden one, chairs creaking slightly, planning budgets over steaming mugs of tea. "If we cut back on eating out, we can save for that trip," she'd say, voice enthusiastic, leaning close so I could catch the faint scent of her shampoo. Mornings were my favorite. In our apartment later, the breakfast bar lit by sun streaming through the window, we'd scroll news on our phones. "Check this story," I'd say, sliding my phone over, and she'd read it, voice thoughtful, making me feel heard. We got married after 2 years, a low-key ceremony in a Dallas park, grass green underfoot, family clapping as we swapped vows under a setting sun casting long shadows. Life settled into a solid rhythm. Our home was a modest two-bedroom in a quiet suburb, with a backyard patio where we'd fire up the grill on weekends, smoke curling up as burgers sizzled. The kitchen was her domain, cabinets organized with labeled jars, fridge stocked like a Tetris game. We'd cook together, me chopping onions on the cutting board, knife thumping steadily, while she stirred the pot, steam rising, the air thick with garlic and spices. Our park trips became routine, walking those trails hand in hand, talking about dreams, a bigger house, maybe kids someday. It was sincere, buddy. She'd nudge me to unwind after long office days, and I'd fix little things around the house, like tightening a loose cabinet door, the screwdrivers hum a small victory. But then, cracks started showing. It began with these small jabs about my routine dependence. One night at home, tables set with matching plates, forks lined up neat. We're eating dinner, and she says, with a sigh that carries more weight than her words, her voice edged with subtle disappointment, eyes glancing at her plate as if it symbolizes everything. "Another evening just like the last, isn't it? It's like we're stuck in a loop that never changes." My jaw tightened just a bit, a pause hanging as I stared at her, fork paused midair, the words landing like a quiet dismissal of all the effort I put into keeping things reliable. I let it slide, figuring it was work stress. Her HR job had been piling on with employee reviews. I stirred my tea harder, spoon clinking against the mug, kept my cool, pulse steady, but inside I wondered, does she really see my steadiness as a trap now? It didn't stay small. One evening, I came home beat from a brutal day, reports stacked high at work, neck stiff from hunching over my desk. Found her on the living room couch, the space dim with just a lamp casting shadows, her phone glowing in her hand. I suggested our budget chat, like always, setting my bag down with a thud. She sighed, heavy, shoulders slumping, a long pause before she spoke, her tone laced with weary resignation. Always the same plan, Stephen? It's like breathing in the same stale air every day, she said, her words sharp yet veiled in casualness, eyes narrowing at me with a hint of unspoken frustration. But then she hesitated, her expression softening for a split second, as if regretting the edge in her voice, before it hardened again. My chest tightened, fingers gripping the bag strap harder, breath catching for a second. I thought, my reliability is turning into her cage. How did we get here? That's out of line. I shot back, voice firm, eyes locked on hers, refusing to look away. This keeps us grounded. If it's a problem, say it straight. My pulse quickened, but I kept my tone steady, no backing down. She rolled her eyes, a sting that hit like a jab, her lips pursing, muttered a half-hearted sorry, tone flat, and we moved on, but my breathing was shallower as I poured the tea, hands steady but mind racing, doubting if this was just a phase, feeling the sting of being undervalued. A week later, things escalated in the kitchen after work. I was fixing a leaky faucet, tools spread on the counter, water dripping steadily into the sink. She came in, slamming the door behind her, her footsteps heavy, face drawn with exhaustion. Stuck fixing the same little things again? Don't you ever crave something unexpected, something alive? She remarked, her voice rising with a mix of exasperation and subtle mockery, arms crossed tightly over her chest, implying my efforts were just more of the same dull pattern. I straightened up, wrench in hand, pausing to wipe sweat from my brow, my shoulders tensing. Inside, a flicker of fear hit me. Is my dependability now just a burden to her? But I shoved it down. This needs fixing, Mary. Not everything's about chasing thrills. I replied, my tone clipped, eyes meeting hers steadily. She huffed, turning away sharply, the silence thick as she stormed out, though I caught a fleeting look of regret in her eyes as she glanced back. That night, I slept on the couch, the fabric rough against my skin, staring at the ceiling, breaths deep and deliberate, analyzing. If she wants space, I'll give it. No more chasing, the quiet rejection gnawing at my sense of worth, mixed with confusion over her lingering care. It got uglier at a family dinner at her parents' place. Picture a long table, roast steaming in the center, potatoes piled high, the aroma thick in the air. She sat across from me, chatting with everyone but me, her laughter forced, eyes avoiding mine. When I tried sharing a work story, she cut me off mid-sentence, her voice loud and laced with patronizing pity. Here we go with Stephen's endless cycle of sameness. It's like watching paint dry, isn't it? The room felt heavier, my throat dry as I forced down a swallow, fork frozen mid-air, guests shifting uncomfortably, glances darting. A pause stretched, my face heating up, pulse thumping in my temples. Inside, resentment built. She's turning my strengths into jokes, making me feel invisible, yet she used to praise this side of me. In the car later, engine humming, streetlights streaking by, I gripped the wheel, knuckles pale, breathing ragged. That was embarrassing, Mary, I said, voice hard, eyes on the road, jaw clenched. Don't pull that in public again. Apologize, or we're talking serious changes. My heart was thumping, anger hot in my chest. She folded her arms, staring out the window, muttering an apology, tone flat, barely meeting my gaze, her shoulders hunched. Dude, ever had someone make you feel small like that in front of family? That night, I canceled our weekend park trip, texting her curtly. Not going. Need time. She read it without replying, the blue ticks mocking me. Kept spiraling. One morning, the kitchen bathed in gray dawn light, coffee maker gurgling. I reached for her hand across the breakfast bar. She pulled back, her fingers slipping away cold, eyes downcast, a heavy pause before she spoke. I can't keep pretending, Stephen. This endless repetition is just weighing me down, she murmured, voice weary but edged with quiet reproach, lips thinning, as if my touch reminded her of everything stagnant. My stomach knotted, breath hitching, a wave of hurt crashing. My consistency, once our foundation, now feels like her chain. I stood up abruptly, chair scraping, my posture rigid. Fine. If that's how you feel, no more mornings like this, I said, tone even but firm, turning away without another word. That day, I mirrored her, ignored her texts, came home late, ate alone in the study, the silence echoing my growing resolve. If she's pulling away, I'll do the same. Protect myself. For days after, the house felt like a ghost town. Meals eaten in tense silence. Her glancing at me with a mix of irritation and unspoken sadness, the air thick with unspoken words. It was as if our once comfortable routines had turned into barriers, each quiet evening amplifying the distance. Another hit came when she didn't come home one evening. The clock ticked past 9 p.m., living room shadows lengthening, my phone silent. When she finally walked in, heels clicking slowly, smelling faintly of wine from girls' night. I was on the couch, arms crossed, jaw set. "Where were you?" I asked, voice low and controlled, eyes boring into hers. She paused in the doorway, shrugging nonchalantly, but her eyes flickered with guilt. "Just out, escaping the usual grind for a bit," she replied, tone defiant yet dismissive, chin lifted, implying our life was something to flee from. My chest tightened, fists balling at my sides, a long silence as I fought the internal explosion, fear mixing with rage. Is she seeing someone? Or just escaping me? I stood, voice rising slightly. "If you need breaks without telling me, then we're done sharing a bed tonight." I grabbed a pillow, stormed to the guest room, door shutting with a firm click, lying there in the dark, breath shallow, mind racing through scenarios, hardening my heart, the casual dismissal cutting deep into my pride. One night, dinner on the stove, pasta bubbling, kitchen warm with the smell of sauce. I reached for her, just a hand on her shoulder. She stiffened, pulled back fast, her body rigid, eyes flashing annoyance. "Please, not in this predictable haze. It's like everything's on autopilot," she said, frustration sharp, voice cracking a bit, avoiding my gaze, her words laced with a weary disdain that made my efforts feel futile. My stomach knotted further, breath catching in my throat, the rejection stinging deep. How did we get here? I used to make her smile, now I'm just background noise. I stepped up, voice controlled but rising, standing tall in the kitchen's heat, pausing to steady my breathing. "Stop this, Mary. Say what's really eating you, but cut the personal attacks." Voices echoed off the walls, our argument bouncing as I pushed for answers, refusing to let it slide. I suggested we talk it out with someone neutral, me taking the lead to set it up, my tone insistent. She brushed it off, tone defensive, arms crossed tight, her eyes welling up but blinking it away. Afterward, she softened a fraction, touching my arm hesitantly, murmuring, "I do care, you know." But the damage lingered, my trust eroding, the subtle barbs eroding my confidence, leaving me questioning if her care was enough anymore. A cold morning followed, frost on the windows, silence thick as we ate cereal at the table, spoons clinking awkwardly. I broke it. "We need to address this before it destroys us." She looked up, eyes tired, pausing with her spoon midair, voice softer but tinged with resignation. "I suppose, but this unchanging pattern, it's just so uninspiring." Her admission hung, my heart sinking. Uninspiring? My loyalty reduced to that. I nodded curtly, standing to leave for work early, the door closing behind me with finality, deciding internally, no more waiting. Time to prepare. The days after blurred into a cold routine. Dinners eaten in near silence, her eyes on her phone, my attempts at conversation met with short replies. The house felt heavier, the air thick with unspoken tension, each quiet meal chipping away at what was left, building my resolve to act. To test if she even cared anymore, I left one morning without a note, slipping out quietly while she slept, the door clicking softly behind me. I returned later than usual that evening, the house dimly lit, no dinner waiting. She was on the couch, scrolling her phone, not even glancing up as I entered. We ate in silence, forks scraping plates, her eyes fixed on the TV. No questions, no concern, just indifference. Inside, a hollow emptiness mixed with irritation surged. She doesn't even notice I'm gone. Fine, message received. My jaw clenched, breath short. As I cleared my plate without a word, the realization cementing. She's checked out, and I need to do the same. Another hit came at a friend's barbecue, grill smoke curling up, laughter ringing out. She ignored my input, sniping to the group about my spirit-dampening consistency. Her words sharp, meant to sting, voice laced with sarcasm, gesturing dismissively as if my presence was a predictable bore. My face flushed, temples throbbing like a drum, guests averting eyes uncomfortably. I pulled her aside by the wooden fence, away from the chatter, my voice low but sharp, pausing to control my breath. "This stops now," I said, eyes locked on hers, hands balled into fists at my sides. "One more jab, and we're done reevaluating. I'm not your punching bag. Took deep breaths to stay composed, chest rising and falling visibly. She nodded, lips tight, but her eyes held defiance, like she was daring me to push back harder, her posture slumping slightly after. The next day, I deliberately canceled our tickets to her favorite annual charity gala, something she'd been looking forward to for weeks. I'm sticking to my routine tonight. Work calls. I said over breakfast, my tone flat, mirroring her criticisms, eyes steady on my coffee. She froze, spoon halfway to her mouth, face reddening. You're doing this on purpose. That's spiteful, she snapped, voice rising sharply, slamming her mug down, liquid sloshing. I leaned back, arms crossed, a pause as I met her glare. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? If my predictability bothers you so much, enjoy the event without it. Her eyes flashed with real anger for the first time, lips trembling, but she stormed off without another word, though later she texted a hesitant, "We need to talk," which I ignored. Inside, satisfaction mixed with a twinge of guilt. No more bending. But does this make me the bad guy? Yet resolve one out. If she wants chaos, she can have it alone. It didn't stop. One night, back home, clock ticking loud in the quiet hallway, she dropped a bomb. Perhaps we should try living apart for a while. Give me room to breathe beyond this constant sameness, she suggested, casual but with an edge, standing by the living room lamp. Its light casting harsh shadows on her face, voice trembling faintly, her words carrying a veiled accusation that my stability was her confinement. My chest tightened, frustration surging like a wave, a pause as I absorbed it, my mind flashing to all the good times fading. Space. That's code for ending it. No, I won't beg. No way. I shot back, standing straight, voice unwavering, eyes steady. We fix this together, or I'm the one walking first. My resolve hardened, and I started moving chess pieces, separated our bank accounts quietly that week, moved important papers to my work safe, my hands steady as I packed them, breaths even but determined. I wasn't waiting for her next move, man. I was done being reactive. That evening, I refused intimacy outright. Turning away in bed, the sheets cool between us, her sigh audible but ignored. Later that week, my phone buzzed while I stayed late at the office. "Where are you?" From Mary. I stared at the screen, thumb hovering, then pocketed it without replying. Another message. "Will you be home?" I typed back curtly. "Later. Don't wait." She read it. No response. Sitting there in the empty office, fluorescent lights humming overhead, I gazed at the wall, mind steady. This is the space she wanted. Let her feel it. A quiet irritation built, but it fueled my detachment, breaths calm as I worked on. Talked to her sister on a family call, the line crackling with static. Alone after, she lowered her voice, almost a whisper, pausing thoughtfully. "Mary's always been impatient, Stephen. Remember when she quit that job after 6 months because it felt too structured? She doesn't value loyalty when she feels trapped by stability. She thrives on change, even if it hurts people." Her words hit like a gut punch, memories flooding. Mary's past flings ending abruptly, her complaints about stale friends. I gripped the phone tighter, jaw setting, a long silence as I processed, sarcasm twisting in my gut, but clarity sharpening. All those times she praised my steadiness. Was it just temporary? Now it makes sense, but it hurts to see the pattern. "Thanks for the honesty," I said, voice steady, though my free hand clenched. It didn't fix things, but it sharpened my perspective, like a lens snapping into focus. She's not changing. I have to. The night before the holiday party, tension boiled over in the bedroom. Dim light from the bedside lamp casting long shadows. Sheets rumpled from restless turning. Your need for everything to be so orderly is just stifling any real connection, she accused, voice rising to a near shout, face contorted, hands gesturing wildly, her tone heavy with accumulated resentment. I sat up, chest heaving, pausing to rein in the surge of anger. "You don't appreciate stability, you crave disruption. But I'm tired of being your steady backdrop while you belittle it." I fired back, tone hard, eyes locked on hers, fists clenched on the comforter. She leaned in, voice cracking with fury. "You've turned into someone so set in patterns. It's draining all the vibrancy out of us." The words stung, but I held ground. Better grounded than flitting from one whim to another like you do with ideas. I paused, holding her gaze as the tension thickened, my voice dropping lower. "Or connections." Silence fell heavy, her breathing ragged, eyes wide with shock at my pushback. She turned away, curling up, but the air crackled. No apologies, just the final fracture. Inside, a grim satisfaction mixed with a pang of loss. I've said it. No turning back now, but part of me wonders if we could have fixed this. Then came the holiday party, the one I mentioned up top. Lights twinkling across the ceiling, tables loaded with food, turkey, pies, the works. Mary was distant all night, her smiles forced, laughter too loud and brittle, eyes darting away from mine. I tried engaging, passing her a plate, my hand brushing hers briefly, but she barely looked at me, pulling back with a subtle flinch. Tension built inside me. This is it. Something's breaking tonight. A guest whispered to another. What's going on over there? As forks clinked nervously. Someone dropped a fork with a clatter, drawing eyes. Mary's mother caught her daughter's gaze, shaking her head subtly, hand raised in a stop gesture, but it was too late. Mary stood deliberately, locking eyes with me, knowing exactly the wound she was about to inflict. She yanked off her ring and let it hit the table, the clink echoing like a gunshot. This ring's for a guy who can spark some life, not smother it with his endless dull routine, she said, voice cutting, contempt dripping from every word, her eyes blazing with finality. The room went dead silent. Forks paused, eyes darting, my blood roaring, hands trembling under the table, fists clenched so tight my nails dug into my palms, throat constricting. Humiliation burned, hot and raw, but resolve surged. No more. This ends now. I stood, chair scraping loud. My voice thunder in the quiet, pausing to steady my shaking breath. We're done, Mary, I said, grabbing the ring, pocketing it, my movements sharp and deliberate, eyes locked on hers without flinching. I don't take disrespect like that. My heart was racing, but my stance was firm, shoulders squared. Grabbed my coat, walked out, guests shuffling awkwardly behind me, whispers starting up. My breath came in short bursts as I hit the cold night air, resolve like steel in my veins, thinking, finally free from the cycle. Back home alone that night, the house eerily quiet. I walked into the bedroom, the air still heavy from last night's fight. I picked up our framed photo from the dresser, us smiling at the park, stared at it a moment, throat tightening, then set it face down in a drawer. The ring followed, clinking as it landed, and I slammed the drawer shut, the sound final. Stood there, breaths deep and even, the cold resolve settling in. This chapter's closed. Time to move forward. Tell me, buddy, would you forgive something like that? I couldn't anymore. Didn't waste time. Filed the papers to end it, my pen steady as I signed, demanding back the bulk of our joint savings. Money I'd primarily contributed to our shared future, leaving her to face the financial fallout without that safety net. It hit her hard, left her scrambling. No buffer. She called repeatedly, voice shaky in voicemails, pleading tones replacing the scorn. But I was done, buddy. No looking back. Months later, I'm in a good place, pal. New hobbies, hitting the gym, weights clanking as I push through sets, sweat dripping, muscles burning with purpose. Work solid, closing deals left and right, confidence surging. Ran into Mary at a coffee shop downtown, the smell of fresh brew thick in the air, morning rush buzzing around us. She was at a corner table, looking worn, hair unkempt, eyes shadowed with dark circles, clothes rumpled like she hadn't slept well in weeks, her posture slumped over a half-empty cup. I approached for my order, and she spotted me, standing up hesitantly, her hands fidgeting with a napkin, voice soft and cracking. Stephen, can we talk? A pause hung as I turned, stirring my coffee slowly, my grip firm on the stirrer, body relaxed but alert. Inside, a flicker of old hurt surfaced, mingled with pity at her diminished state. She looks broken, but so was I back then. She continued, eyes downcast, tone laced with regret, lips trembling slightly. I regret how I acted, Stephen. The jabs, the distance. I see what I lost now. Your stability grounded us, and my restlessness ruined it. Is there any way back? Her voice wavered, a tear slipping down her cheek, hands clasping together pleadingly, her words raw with hindsight. I met her gaze steadily, pausing to let the words sink in, my breathing even, face composed, no rush of anger anymore.